Hey everybody, how are you guys doing today? It's Saturday afternoon and I am jumping on live here in the group to talk about something that I see a lot of when I am talking with other homeschool moms or on the group here, and I just thought it would be good to take some time to address it. So I want to introduce myself. First of all, I'm Anne from the blog Annie and Everything, and on that blog I talk about the homeschool lifestyle and homeschooling itself, how to make them easier, simpler, less stressful for us homeschool moms so that we can have more joy and peace in our homeschool day. So with that said, I'd like to have us all remember what it was like when we were in kindergarten. Some of us have to think farther back than others on that one. Yeah, so when I was in kindergarten, let's see, I had to bring 10 cents to buy the little carton of milk to eat with my snack. And I had a mat that I kept in the classroom, and we took nap time every day. And I was always jealous of everybody else's mats because they had Sesame Street characters or something, and I had this red plastic vinyl mat that my older sister had made as a project in Girl Scouts. There's a name for them. I forget what it is. Anyway, what else did we do in kindergarten? We had the teacher read books to us. That was always fun. We did recess, yes. And kindergarten was a half day. It was 3-4 hours maybe, and we did all those things. And we didn't just take 3 minutes to do each of them. So I'm having trouble remembering the serious academic work we did in the kindergarten day. I do know this. We didn't start reading instruction until first grade. And I've heard that that's different now. So the topic I want to address today is the topic of being behind. Many moms worry about their kids being behind in their homeschool, and it's something that we just don't need to worry about. The first thing I want to think about is what does the concept of behind even mean? I mean, when we think about the English, if we're talking about something being behind something else, like I'm driving behind another car, inherent in that word behind is the idea of comparison. I'm comparing myself to the location of the other car. And when we're talking about our kids being behind, we're comparing them to the other kids. That's what we're doing. It's an element of comparison that is inherent in that word. The other thing that we're comparing them to is not just the other kids, but to some sort of standard. Somebody somewhere set a standard, and we think our kids aren't matching up to that standard. Well, who is the somebody somewhere that set that standard? That would be the government. The government set the standard and sets the standards for what should be accomplished in each and every school year, in each and every grade level. And I just want to remind us all that we're homeschooling because we are not happy with that system of education, and we pulled our kids out to get away from it. That means we don't have to submit ourselves to the standard of what should happen in a grade level that they have set forth. The other thing is that standard that the government has set is always changing, isn't it? It's always changing. It seems like they've always got a different new idea for what should be happening in each grade level, as is evidenced by what used to happen in kindergarten and what happens these days. It's a completely different story. So obviously the government is still trying to figure out what they think is best to happen in each grade level. So I don't think that we need to let ourselves sit under that idea. And what happens when they go with that is it leads to them putting all these tests together for our kids to pass in order to show that their government schools are doing what they should be doing. And it leads to the teachers teaching to the test. And that's half the reason we've left that system anyway, right? So just remember that all of those standards are things that we're so used to as a culture, we don't even question them anymore, but they perhaps should be questioned, and we don't need to submit ourselves to them. Then there's the whole concept of grade level, which is another construct developed by the governments, the public school system, to put the kids into school, right? And it's an age-based thing, isn't it? It's not usually, I mean, in rare cases, but for most of us, it's an age-based thing. You start kindergarten at 5, you are in first grade at 6, second grade at 7, and so forth. And so we know, because we've raised our kids or are in the process of raising our kids, that each kid is different at that age. And that some of them are going to be more able to do some things and others are going to be more able to do other things, but kids are vastly different at each age. So to lump them all into a grade level per se isn't necessarily the wisest way to go about that. Will your kid fail elementary school if they're not doing 4th grade level work when they're in 4th grade? No, they won't. I used to teach in the public school system way back when I was fresh out of college. And because I was the newbie teacher, they gave me the kids who were difficult. Now, this was middle school, and I was a math teacher. And so I was teaching 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. And the classes that I was given to teach were kids working 2 grade levels behind. So they were working on 4th and 5th grade math. And guess what? If they did their work and they got C's on the tests, they passed and they went to the next grade level. They don't have to be working on grade level in order to pass and go on to the next one. And we get so worried as homeschoolers that we have to be held even to a higher standard than the public school system, and we don't. If your kid is working diligently, learning, it doesn't matter what the number on the spine of the book says. If they are getting it, move them forward, but they're still doing just fine. High school, now, that might be, there are some other considerations with that, and I know you're probably wondering about that. So I will address that in another video, so we'll get there. Right now, I'm just talking about in general, okay? So here's what I want you to take away from all of this. Where is she going with this? Okay, here's where I'm going with this. We homeschool to get away from so many things that are in the public school system. The grouping with peers of all the same age, the wasted time, right? The teaching to the test. All of those things we can see are bad. But for some reason, we allow ourselves to submit to this idea of grade level and what is appropriate and whether or not my kid is behind. And I say, let's just throw that out too. There is no reason to burden ourselves with that. One of the beauties of homeschooling is we can individualize instruction for each child. We can see what makes them tick. And while they might not do as well in one subject, they probably do as well in another. I don't know about you, but my experience with my own kids is the ones who were working ahead of grade level often were the ones that were behind in common sense. And to be honest with you, I wonder sometimes if the common sense isn't the better quality to have. Just saying. Each child is going to learn and grow differently. And any of us that have more than one child know that. And so let's embrace that. Let's let each child take their own pace. Let's give up this worry, this stress-inducing idea about grade level and whether or not my kid is behind the rest of the kids his age or behind the number on the spine of the book. Let's just allow our kid to joyfully learn, and let's be joyful with him about that. Let's be confident that he is capable of learning everything he'll need to be a productive individual. Because guess what? I took naps in kindergarten, and I didn't learn how to read until 1st grade, and I'm a productive individual, and so are you. Just like we did, we eventually learned everything we need to know. Your kid will too, no matter where he's at on grade level. So enjoy your Saturday. It's been great speaking with you today. I hope you've been encouraged. Let me know. Make some comments. Tell me what you disagree with, what you agree with, and let's dialogue about this some more. Okay? Thanks for listening. Bye.